All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda, public comment. If anybody'd like to approach the council, make a public comment for anything that is not on tonight's agenda, you're welcome to do so. Just state your name and address. Seeing no. Correct. Go ahead. Yep.
From Serenity Place.
Sure.
I want to know why we're not enforcing the RAS laws or whatever for that field. The thistles are so thick in there that frankly, I don't claim to have a better yard, but I'm really tired of picking thistles out of my yard from that field. On 4th of July, we have a lot of foot traffic that goes along there to watch the fireworks. They were so thick and tall that people couldn't even cross over to the sidewalk. Now, if that were my yard, I'd be fined. What do we need to do here?
You're referring to the vacant field lot?
Yes. the
Okay.
Big field.
We do have a native grass ordinance, or just like a grass ordinance to generally speak to, and that's normally applied to properties that have houses on them. This might be a rare instance where people are looking to apply to a vacant lot, so that's something that we can absolutely look into.
Well, I hope you do because it's really getting bad. Thank you.
Thank you. Sure.
My name is Sean Tadra. I was just introducing myself. I'm the person that put in for the ordinance text amendment on the light industrial for cannabis cultivation use with Corey Ellert. Just introducing myself to the council.
Thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else for public comment? Anything you'd want to discuss that is not on tonight's agenda? Seeing no other takers, we'll close the public comment period. Item number 3, approval of the agenda.
I move to approve.
Seeing a motion and a second, any other discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 4, consent agenda.
I move to approve.
Seeing a motion and a second, any other discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to item number 5, public hearing for delinquent accounts assessed. David or Lori?
I believe that is Lori.
We have one resident that requested to assess some delinquent or past due water sewer bill. They've been on a payment plan, and it would just be easier for them if they could assess it to their taxes to be payable next year at 0% interest rate. We charge an assessment fee on that. Should they not pay it within 30 days, which I'm not anticipating. So it's a public hearing. It was requested by the resident. And it would be payable next year in 2026 with their property taxes.
Okay. So the action we're just looking for tonight is to allow public hearing and then adopt the resolution pertaining to that resident?
Yes.
Okay. Well, with that, we'll open a public hearing. I can't turn or modify my mic from where we're sitting at all. I apologize. I can try and speak louder. So with that, we're going to open the public hearing for delinquent accounts being assessed. If anybody'd like to speak pertaining specifically to this for this public hearing, you're welcome to do so. I don't know if the resident is here tonight or not. No. Seeing nobody approach for the public hearing for delinquent accounts being assessed, we'll close that public hearing. We're looking for a motion for the resolution.
So moved. Second.
Seeing a motion, a second for resolution 2025-048, adopting assessment for outstanding invoices. Any other discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to item number 6, public hearing for 2025 street improvements, 2025 street improvement assessment hearing.
I can kick that one off. Good evening. My name is Randy Sabart, serve as the consulting city engineer. This evening, when the city contemplates making a public improvement under the Chapter 429 statutes, they're required to conduct 2 public hearings. The first public hearing was conducted back in April, which we call the public improvement hearing. At that hearing, the city presents the proposed project that it intends to undertake. The second public hearing is tonight, the special assessment hearing. At this hearing, the city describes what the proposed cost share or proposed costs are to the residents benefiting from the improvement. And so Bryce, my colleague here, has a brief slideshow that we'll walk through. If you didn't pick it up, there were handouts at the front table with the same slides that contains the same information. So with that, we'll have Bryce start the slides.
All right, thank you, Randy. My name is Bryce Johnson. I work for SEH, work with Randy for the city of St. Joseph for the engineering, on the engineering side. So as Randy mentioned, I'm going to run through the special assessment hearing slides for the 2025 street improvements. So the project locations are listed here. We've got 4th Avenue, Elena Lane, Ellie Court, 12th Avenue, Able Street and Court, 13th Avenue, Pondview Lane, Eagle Ridge Drive and Eagle Ridge Court, Dale Street, Callaway Street, 8th Avenue, Minnesota Street West, 3rd Avenue, Northwest, and a portion of the Minnesota Street Trail. Those locations are shown here in purple with the work along Minnesota Street shown in green and the trail section shown in red. Here we have the projected final total project costs. So you see the project item on the left. In the middle, we have the estimated cost at the time of the public hearing. And on the right, we've got the proposed final costs after receiving bids from the contractor. So as you can see, we've got construction cost, a contingency factor, feasibility report, design and construction engineering, legal, fiscal, and administrative costs to give us our total at the bottom here. So again, our total cost was slightly reduced after going through the design process and receiving bids. Here again, we've got the projected final total cost just broken out by project area. So again, some of those same areas that I listed before. We've got the type of improvement. For the most part, this is an edge mill and overlay, other than Minnesota Street West and the Minnesota Street Trail. So again, we have our estimated cost at the time of the public hearing here and the proposed final cost on the right. This is the preliminary project funding. So this was presented at the public hearing. This was our initial estimate on the preliminary special assessment revenue for each area. And then we have the city subsidy and then the total cost. So again, this is the preliminary project funding estimate. We've got our totals down here of roughly $600,000 of assessment revenue and $410,000 of city subsidy. Here we have the projected funding after opening bids and going through the design process. So we've come to a special assessment revenue of $524,443, which is 53% of the total project cost here, again, at $981,073. And then our city subsidy sitting at the remaining 47% of the project cost. Some special assessment info. It has been and continues to be the policy of the city of St. Joseph that when infrastructure improvements are constructed, providing benefit to a particular area, those costs shall be levied against benefiting properties. The city did commission a special assessment benefit report. This is a third-party report that's done by a third party that identifies a range of market benefit for each type of improvement in each area. Some more special assessment info. The city may assess up to 60% of street and overlay reconstruct costs. So that's what we're looking at here. So when we did our base assessment, we took 60% of the total cost and assessed that to property owners. After the market analysis was done, that puts a cap on many of the properties. And so what that does is it'll reduce that total assessment number. As you saw in the previous slide, the total assessment revenue had gone down slightly. So 60% is the maximum that can be assessed on a street or overlay reconstruct cost. So then 40% or more of that cost would be subsidized by the city. Special assessments are determined for surface improvements, are calculated on the basis of a frontage per lineal foot. So the amount of your property that abuts the improvement area, that dimension is how you're typically assessed. Larger lots, larger assessments. So this is a summary of the special assessment benefit report. So here we've got our areas again, the property types and uses, agricultural, residential, commercial, and then the maximum market benefit that was applied to each area. So as you can see, some of these are like agricultural, for instance, is listed. It's maxed out per the square foot. So it's 5 cents per square foot is the maximum benefit. And then we see residential homes anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000 per buildable parcel. Twin homes, $2,000 per unit. And then we have our apartment units here on the bottom. So again, this frontage is determined, and this is all part of the city's assessment policy that was put together and voted on and has been the city's assessment policy for some time. So there is some consistency to how these assessments are calculated. So a regular interior lot, your regular rectangle lot, 100% of the side abutting the improvement for an interior lot. A rectangular corner lot would be the sum of 100% of the short side and 50% of the long side footage is assessed. So if you have a 50-foot frontage and a 100-foot side yard, you will only be assessed for 50% of that side yard if the improvement is on that side. For irregular lots, we do a calculation essentially based on the area of the lot or the average widths. The selected benefit assessment basis or methodology is meant to balance equity and distribution of the special assessment. All right, special assessment rates. So here again, we've got the project area, type of improvement, the estimated preliminary special assessment rates, and then our proposed final special assessment rates. So as you can see, all three of the categories, the special assessment rates did go down from our preliminary hearing. So we've got our 27 to 30 foot wide street overlay, 32 to 33 foot wide overlay, and then on Minnesota Street West, the 41 foot wide street overlay. Trail, the fog seal improvements to the trail portion of the trail are not assessed. These special assessments may be paid in annual installments over time, based on a term of 10 years. This year, the interest rate will be 5%. No interest would be charged if the assessments are paid in full within 30 days of the adoption of the assessment roll. First installment is payable on or before the first Monday in January of 2026. You can partially prepay or pay in full the assessment at any time. Prepayment must occur within 30 days of the adoption of the special assessment roll to avoid interest. Interest accrues up to December 31st, and you must pay before November 15th, or interest will be charged through December 31st of the succeeding year. There are special classes for deferrals. If you are a senior, disabled, or on active duty, and the assessment is over $3,000, you can request a deferral. Process for deferral, if you are in a special class, the city does have forms that one would need to fill out. You must apply within 30 days of the assessment being approved. City council will make that final determination, and interest would still accrue during the deferral period. Special assessment appeals. No appeal may be taken as to the amount of an assessment unless a written objection by the affected property owner is filed with the municipal clerk prior to the hearing or presented to the presiding officer at the hearing. So that is the hearing that we are currently at. Council may consider these objections at an adjourned meeting. The owner may also appeal an assessment to district court. Must serve notice upon the mayor or city clerk within 30 days of the adoption of this assessment, and file such notice with district court within 10 days after service upon mayor or city clerk. This is a calculation example. So one of our assessment categories was a 32 to 33 foot wide street overlay. That rate was 29 linear feet. If we have an 80-foot lot, this is our total assessment. If we have a 27 to 30 foot wide street overlay on a corner lot, again, if we've got a, say, a 50-foot front and 100-foot side yard dimension, you would only pay half of that long side. So this would be your assessment here. And if that corner lot was a combination of these two, 80 foot in the front and 100 feet on the side, those two numbers would be added to find that property's total assessment. This is the schedule for the 2025 street improvements. We began back in February of this year with a feasibility report. Here we sit tonight at the special assessment hearing where council may award the construction contract. Construction would be proposed to start in August or September of this year and be substantially complete in June of 2026 and ready for final completion in July of next year. Does anyone have any questions?
Before we open the public hearing, David, did you have a statement to share?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Just wanted, the council does need to be aware, we were notified or became aware that parcels 84.53832 and 84.53828, both are owned by Timothy and Susan Borish, did not receive notification of tonight's assessment hearing. The council can take action, can take testimony / objections from the property owners being assessed tonight and recess the assessment hearing to August 18th, where the council would be able to take any testimony or objections from Mr. or Mrs. Borish. The council does not have to take testimony from any other property owners on the 18th, as they have received notice for tonight's meeting. So after testimony has concluded tonight and the assessment hearing has been recessed to the 18th for the property owners who did not receive the notice, the council may approve awarding the bid. And awarding the bid tonight would keep the city in compliance with the timing requirements from when the bids were opened and how they must be awarded or denied within the certain time frame. So deferring action on the bid to August 18th would put the action outside of the approved window and would allow the bidders to amend or rescind their bid documents. So. Good. All right, I'll read it here. I'll go a little bit. Can you hear me now? Is this better? Okay, well, I'll do the best I can here with this. So there's two parcels, parcel 84.53832 and 84.53828. Both are owned by Timothy and Susan Borish. They did not receive the notification of tonight's assessment hearing. The council can take testimony and or objections from the property owners being assessed tonight and recess the assessment hearing to August 18th, when the council will be able to take any testimony or objections from Mr. or Mrs. Borish. The council does not have to take testimony from any other property owners on the 18th, as they have received notice for tonight's meeting. After testimony is concluded tonight and the assessment hearing has been recessed to the 18th for the property owners who did not receive notice, the council may approve awarding the bid. Awarding the bid tonight will keep the city in compliance with the timing requirements from when the bids were opened, and it must be awarded or denied. Deferring action on the bid until August 18th would put that action outside of the approval window and would allow the bidders to amend or rescind their bid documents. Yeah, and for the councils, we did receive 2 written objections prior to the meeting tonight for people that were not able to attend. So.
Thank you for that. That was a notice that we'd need to provide to you, since one resident who's impacted by these assessments did not receive notice. He will have the ability at a future date, a future city council meeting, to speak to the council through his own public hearing. So with all that, we now are going to open tonight's public hearing on these street assessments, and you're welcome to ask the council or our engineers, Randy and Bryce, any question that you may have, similar to the prior public hearings we just had. Just please approach the podium, the microphone, and just state your name and address, and you're welcome to ask any question that you'd like. So you're welcome to do that now.
So I could be first. I'm Nancy Notch, and I live on 8th Avenue Northeast. And I'm wondering why I'm getting assessed $4,000 for the patch that they're repairing, that's one spot. Is that correct?
No. There's a full depth patch that's part of the improvement along that street, but it's not the only. We're overlaying the entire length of the street. The patch is a portion of it.
We just want to have whoever's at the podium speaking. I'm sorry.
So-
You're welcome to ask when she's done.
They do that street, they're gonna do that whole street?
Yes.
Okay, who's all getting assessed for that?
So property owners on each side of the road are being assessed. This is an overlay, so this is not a reconstruct. As I know you're aware, back when the street was originally constructed in 2006, 2007. When we looking at preserving the street, we do this overlay to extend the life.
And that street, the business owners, everybody down there is getting assessed.
Yes.
Okay, but what I don't understand is why anybody's responsible for that road, because it wasn't done correctly in the first place.
So-
They dug up, they had everything put in, and it was in, and it was leaking water all over, they dug it up again, and they redid everything, and we were left with a patched road. It
What the property owner is describing.
wasn't a nice road, it was patched, it was.
Well, it was a brand new street. What she's describing is that there were buried utilities that complicated the soil types, and the buried utilities that were in that street certainly moved after the original construction. So I would second that from a profile perspective, the street was not.
I can't afford that. I'm 84 years old and I paid for that once. And I'm alone. I can't afford $4,000 on that road.
I understand.
And I don't understand why that's where it's broke up, and it's broke up from usage. And there's a lot of traffic that goes down to the business places, so we all get assessed. I get assessed more because it goes onto my property, is that correct?
You're assessed based on the footage that your property abuts the street. That part is correct.
So on the front,
On the front.
so how much am I assessed at, like 100 feet?
I don't have your parcel handy. If you know that you have 100 feet, that sounds about right, but we'd have, it's not the long side. So yours is a rectangular lot, so you're assessed on the short side abutting 8th Avenue.
It sounds like sort of complicated to me. But I just think there's,
I'd be happy to meet with you separately and try to answer those questions for you.
I mean, it was a trouble spot right from the beginning.
I would acknowledge that it was difficult construction. Now, if we don't do this overlay, and this comes up frequently with overlay types of projects, the goal is to stretch the life of that street to 30 to 35 years. And we do that by timing an overlay in that life cycle. And if we don't, we would expect the streets to deteriorate quicker. So this is a normal cycle for us, for the city. We've had a pavement maintenance plan since.
Technical payment plan, then if I can't pay it now, I can't pay it later.
No.
Ma'am, your house number is 406?
Yes.
Okay, we have your frontage listed at roughly 208 feet. So your original assessment was roughly $7,400. The city would be paying the balance of that. So you're an example of a property that got capped by that third-party market analysis, benefit analysis. So your assessment is capped at $4,000. The city is actually paying
Think they should pay
3,400
more.
and change of the total
I think they
assessment.
should. Bad road to begin. They have been. No, it should come out of the tax money. I mean, there was another engineer there that I knew that looked at it and said it was not being done right. Oh, I don't know. Well. Guess I wasted my time. Thanks.
Is there anybody else that has questions throughout the public hearing? You're welcome to step forward.
My name is Ron Ike. I live on 13 4th Avenue Northwest. I live on a corner right where the stop sign is, and this is the third time I'm getting assessed since I've lived there. I've dealt with the council before. Not too much changes, but I do have a few more questions. Does St. Ben's have to pay their share on all the road improvement, or are they excluded?
They're not excluded. They are a party to the assessment. So
Okay,
they've
that's
been
one.
assessed.
So the county plows right up to my house on the corner. So, and I think it's been explained to me, but I want to confirm it. So if the county takes care of the road, why isn't the road striped or painted? And why does the bill go to St. Joe?
So Minnesota Street was turned back to the city of St. Joseph several years ago. So when the realignment of County Road 2 occurred on the west side of town, Stearns County turned Minnesota Street back to locals to the city. So it's now a local street. It's not Stearns County. The city does have a maintenance agreement when it comes to winter maintenance with the city. So I have to defer to Ryan a little bit about at least with respect to the snow plowing operations, where that cutoff is. But I can confirm that Minnesota Street is now a local street. It is not Stearns County's.
Okay, well, then to go one step farther, it needs to be maintained. It needs to be painted. It needs to be taken care of. And of course, I'm going to pay for that. So thank you very much. Oh, is there an ear tag on this here improvement pertaining to more lights that I'm gonna have to pay for? Because the lighting and also go along with the lighting. Does every person in St. Joseph get assessed on their water bill for all the lights that go all the way out to Kennedy? And if they do, once again, is it gonna go up due to the roundabout, and how many more lights and how much more is my bill gonna go up? Because to pay for lighting, in my opinion, for the rest of my life, and I've already paid for it, we all have, the way I understand, is getting ridiculous. There's a lot of ear tags that get thrown onto these bills, and you really don't know about it until you get your water bill or whatever. So it's a thorn under my saddle. It keeps going up and up and up. So the question is, does everyone pay for that? And if so, I haven't done the math, but that must be one heck of a lot of income coming into St. Joe. And where does it all go? It can't all just go for the lighting. They should be a lot brighter.
Lori, would you be able to speak to that?
We do have a street lighting fund, so we used to cover the street lighting costs through the general levy, but we switched it to an it's called an enterprise fund, so it does now get charged on the water bills to all residents, so you're paying for a system-wide, and it's basically covering the electricity costs to run the lights, any updates that we might need to do to those lights. If we have to add some lights, that's all covered under that fee.
Are
This-
this bills and stats accessible for me to look at?
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
This
I
improvement
think
does
I have
not
to do a little
include any-
research because sometimes I don't think balance and check comes out in my opinion, but that's my opinion. I think I got most of them answered. I probably forgot a few, but so I talked to Dave previously, and he answered a lot of my questions. He's very thorough with it. But so is this a concrete price? That is what we're gonna have to pay?
Correct.
There's no adjustment, like maybe they could save some money or da 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 da?
So if for some reason the project would come down materially from the cost that we've presented tonight, the city has, I think, at least in my tenure, there's been one instance where the project came in significantly under budget and the city refunded special assessments. It was in the amount of $200 to $300. Like I said, at least since 2006, I think that's happened one time. So it is something that we monitor and discuss with administration if for some reason the project would come in materially under budget. This type of project where it's overlay of bituminous surfacing, I wouldn't expect that it's going to come in materially under budget. If you noticed in the slide that Bryce had up earlier, we only have a $39,000 contingency on close to $1 million project. So we're expecting it to come out pretty close to budget at this point.
Okay, thank you for your time. One other thing, I have hearing aids, and there's a lot of other people can't. We have to do something so the system, so that everything that was said prior to me coming up here is pretty much like, so. As new as this facility is, I think we got to crank it up a little bit because there's a lot of people that haven't heard what's going on. So it's going over our head. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else, as the public hearing is still open?
First question is, when is this expected to take place?
And end of August, early September.
Would you want to just state your name and address
Sorry,
quick as
Deborah
well?
Williams.
Thank you.
So it will start the end of August already? Is that what you think?
We haven't met with the contractor to confirm the schedule
It
yet,
could.
but we're anticipating that it could as soon as this month, the end of this month.
And what is the duration?
We anticipate the bulk of the work will be done before the end of the construction season. The contract does allow for it to carry over into June of next year if there's some carryover work. But based on what we know today, we're expecting the bulk of the work to be completed this year.
Okay, and then you mentioned the contingency, which I agree, that's a low contingency. I would expect usually a 10% contingency, but if you do not use that contingency, is it refunded to the assessor or the assessees, or do you?
Again, the council ultimately makes that decision depending on how much of the project comes in under budget. So it's too early for us to be able to make that statement now, but we will look at it at the end of the project after all the costs are accounted.
Okay, so if you pay upfront, which is September 17th, is that what it said?
Right.
That's based on assuming it's going to August 18th to be approved.
Correct.
So then you would just get a refund sent to you if it is under.
If the council decides that it's materially different from what was assessed. The other thing to keep in mind in this case is that the city is paying, this isn't 100% assessed. The city has $456,000 that they're contributing out of other coffers. So that's a decision that the council has to ultimately make.
Okay. And then I didn't bring my letter with me, but I thought the letter stated it was 5.25% interest. Is it 5%?
It is
5%.
Okay. Okay. All right, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Tim McPhee, 507 West Minnesota Street. I think I was in the meeting when we talked about Minnesota Street. That was in April, correct? Is that the meeting?
Yes.
If I'm accurate?
That timeline sounds
I
correct.
think you said this road should probably last 20 years now. Is that what you're saying, Minnesota Street?
That's the goal.
We want to get the road to 30 years, 30 to
Yeah.
35 years in our climate with an overlay, usually time between that 15 to 22-year mark in the street's life cycle. We've seen a street last to 30 to 35 years.
The overlay, you're talking like 2 inches or more,
1.5
inch and a half? One other thing, it doesn't pertain really to the road, but could we put some more to regulate the speed on the road a little better?
So that is something that the city took a look at and made an adjustment. Dwight, you have to help me out. I want to say it was 2019 when the state law, after the road was turned back to the city of St.
Yeah.
Joseph, and the state law changed where the city council had more discretion in setting speed limits. We did move and adjust the speed limit down so that pedestrian crossing that's kind of closer to the park and ride is where that reduced speed limit was changed. So we don't have any discretion to be able to reduce it any further without.
No, I
being-
understand that part, but it's more like a highway than it is a street, if you know what I'm talking about.
It's a,
I talked to the PD and they do what they can. I mean, they can only watch it so much. You know, I'm just kind of hoping it slows down.
So I
You
think
know.
the council's aware, in order to do anything further than that's been done to address speed,
Yeah.
the city would have to do a speed study. And that's a little bit of a gamble because the speed limit can go higher based on prevailing speed.
Yeah, I'm not pushing it or anything. I'm just bringing it to attention. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Pat Gangle again, Dale Street, 7th Avenue and Dale Street on the corner. When you say an overlay of an inch and a half, are you ripping up what's there and putting down?
Nope, so they won't, other than this area on 8th Avenue where they'll do a full depth patch. They won't actually go all the way through the existing bituminous section. They'll come through with a milling machine, and they'll grind up right up against the edge of the curb and gutter, the concrete curb and gutter. They'll go down about 1.5 inches there, 1.25 inches, and they'll taper that up to 0. And it'll be 8 feet wide. So they'll mill a strip 8 feet wide against the curb and gutter on both sides of the street. And then they'll put 1.5 inches over the entire surface.
So they're gonna grind up what's there and put stuff over it.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit to give that hot mix a place to go. We don't wanna just overlay and have 1.5 inches drop into the curb and gutter. So we grind, so then that'll be flush. The road surface will be flush with the curb and gutter, water, feet, tires, everything. We'll just roll right over it.
So what I'm hearing is that this is just somebody's plan to just do these streets. No, but I mean, does anybody go and look at them? Because I don't think we need that. I mean,
We do. So the city has a pavement maintenance plan since approximately 2011, and they're on their third generation of this plan. So as I described earlier, if the city doesn't do this, if we don't overlay a street at the right time, we risk losing the longevity of that street and then have to do a more costly reconstruction in a shorter period of time. So these overlays are designed and timed so that we can stretch the life out another 10 to 15 years. So it is strategic. There is a certain window in the life of a street when we want to overlay. And your question is fairly common. People will say, well, it doesn't look like it needs to be overlaid. Many people think that if you wait till it's riddled with potholes and cracked and falling apart, that's when we should overlay it. Unfortunately, then it's too late. Now we're talking reconstruct. So we overlay streets when they are still in a good surface condition like you're seeing. If we wait too long, it's too late.
Okay, so when does Seventh Avenue fall into this in front of Serenity Place there?
I guess I don't have the plan right here in front of me, but we're generally looking at that 18 to 22 year mark for when the street was originally constructed.
2028.
2028, it sounds
So
like,
we're gonna hit again.
on 7th. So again, we're trying to time these correctly, so that we get it in the right sequence.
Well, I gotta tell you, we paid for those streets initially going in. And for now you to come back and, I mean, what are we paying taxes for? In my mind, the city should be paying 60%, not 40. I think, this is ridiculous. So, but I got a corner lot, so I'm gonna get $3,000 now, in 2 more years, I'm gonna get another 3,000, whatever. Cause you can bet the price are gonna go up then too. I'm not. You're just not happy. This is just, the street doesn't need it.
The only thing I would say to that is that all of these projects are publicly bid, so you're getting the lowest number that you're going to get doing a public project. So the cost is going to be whatever it is. So if you weren't paying for it via assessment, the cost still has to be paid if these improvements are to be done. So your taxes may be higher either way, or in the absence of assessments. The assessments are not making the project cost anymore, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
The public hearing's still open. Would anybody else like to approach and have any further comment?
So.
Just
Andy
your
Walker,
name
yeah,
and-
Dennis Bukowski and Eagle Ridge Drive.
Thank you.
So these assessments, like I asked a question last time. It's like, I don't know of any other town that does this. And I didn't really get a great answer last time. And that's fine, but I would like to know, like the city council, do you guys ever get together and think, no other towns do this, but St. Joe's doing it. Did you guys ever think about that at all? There's other ways to generate the money besides taxes, because we already pay enough taxes. You know what I'm getting at? Like, there's other ways, other towns do this, but they don't get hit. The people in the town don't get hit like this. You guys ever think about that? Trying to run the city a little bit different?
The converse, Bryce already outlined. If there isn't assessments levied based on individual projects and individual streets that apply to individual residents, the opposite outcome is that we need to charge more taxes to all residents. So then you're paying for improvements around the city every single year, whether it immediately impacts you or not. So I believe the goal of like this government, which was established long before any of us were here, most of the residents in this room were here, we wanted to have taxes as low as possible to residents until a project might immediately impact them.
Yeah, but you don't have to raise taxes just to do road improvements. I mean, think about talking to other cities. I don't know of anybody that has these assessments. I know last time you said, well, Elk River has it.
No,
Wow.
I think what I was describing, Sartell, St. Cloud, Sauk Rapids all levy special assessments. So feel free to check with each of those jurisdictions. the Elk River and I believe it was Edina, the two that I referenced last time were two that were exploring using franchise fees. So collecting the revenue in a different manner using franchise fees. So some would say it's a tax by another name,
Yeah.
but that was a strategy that those two communities were doing, at least in the St. Cloud area. I think you'll find that special assessments are still a used tool.
I think there is different ways to, you know, to figure this stuff out, but you gotta try, you know, gotta look at different options. Because people in St. Joe are, you know, I'll pay for it, I don't care, but damn, people are getting hit pretty hard here, you know? So that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you.
If I may just answer for the council's benefit there. A city paying for the street improvements through the general fund or something along the, and not assessing it is in Minnesota is extremely rare. Really, all the cities that I'm aware of that I work with do some sort of special assessment. Where they differ a little bit is how much they special assess to the property and how much the city takes a portion of it. But it's extremely rare where they don't. I know this, the state government state legislature has looked at this on several occasions, trying to do something along the lines where we would do street improvement districts, where you would do a neighborhood. So they kind of be built around the same time, that kind of thing, where you could collect a special levy from that particular area for the streets in that particular area. However, that has not passed. So those are not available to us at this point. But I know that this is something that all cities really go through. What is the best, most efficient way and the most fair way to levy or to pay for street improvements? And I don't want to be facetious about this or think, but there's really no really good way or overly fair way. There's just kind of less bad. Yeah, it's something that all cities struggle with. What's the most fair way to pay for streets? And but just to answer the question, I could think of one, I believe, city that just pays it through their property taxes. Otherwise, the rest I'm all aware of do it through special assessments.
I have two other comments. I didn't quite hear, or if I got the answer, are the ear tag of electricity going to go up after this? I didn't get an answer.
Not because of this project. Not because of this project.
Not because
There's no lighting improvements associated with
Okay.
this project.
The other thing, as far as you said, it goes to the lowest bidder.
Yes, sir.
And that's as low as it gets. I don't quite agree with that. I agree with the statement, part of it. But back in 2015, when our area got assessed for $20,000 to $30,000 per household, that was pretty concrete until the neighborhood got together and collected money to get lawyers. Lo and behold, out of the kindness of everybody on the panel, not you people, the previous, they dropped it down to $10,000 to $12,000 per household. So I don't think that is the lowest possible price on improvements, unless everybody gets together and hire a lawyer, and then we'll go, because it isn't going to stop unless something gets changed. We'll get assessed again and again and again. And my assessments, I've had it up to here at 10,000, 20,000, another 2,000 or 3,000. So the statement that you said, I don't think is quite accurate. It is for this job, but maybe for the future, I'm talking to all the people here that in here and in St. Joe, maybe it's time we hire some good lawyers and see what you can do for us, because I'm tired of it. So once again, thank you for your time, but I don't agree with everything that's being shoved at us, and sometimes people just have to fight back. So right now it's probably too late, but for the next time, it's something to think about. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else while the public hearing is still open before we close it?
Mr. Mayor, before we close, we should, I know one of the written objections was from Ms. Notch, who did testify. The other one, typically we would read into record a written objection. So if you indulge me, I'll just read the one we received from from Eleanor Keel. So that it states, my family and I reside at 105 Abel Court in St. Joseph. We oppose the proposed street improvements and resulting assessments to Abel Court residents. We do not think that our street is in any need of resurfacing. We think that it is a waste of our Earth's natural resources and our neighborhood's financial resources to resurface our street. We see need only for minor repair, even that, of the minimal cracks that are present in the surface. Please take note of our opposition. We are unable to attend the hearing on August 4th. Please reply to this email. Let me know that you have received this email and advise me if there's something further that we can do to state our case. Thank you, Eleanor Keel.
Thank you. With that, we'll look to close our public hearing if nobody else has any other comment. Our public hearing is closed. With that, we're looking for a motion to approve resolution 2025-049 awarding the bid to Knife River.
So moved.
Seeing a motion in a second, any other further comment? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? A vote of 4-1, it passes.
I would like a roll call on this vote. I'd like a roll call on this
Okay.
vote that we just took.
Okay. All right, so we'll do a roll call. We'll start, Barnett. So Councilmember Schnettler.
Nay.
Councilmember Klusner.
Aye.
Mayor Sapaniak.
Aye.
Councilmember Beniak.
Aye.
Councilmember Mooney.
Aye.
So the resolution 2025-049 awarding the bid to Knife River is passed on a 4-1 vote. We are now looking for a motion for resolution 2025-050 adopting the final assessments.
So moved.
I will second that. Seeing a motion in a second, any other comment? All those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries on a vote of 3-2.
I would like a roll call on that motion.
Great. Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Schnettler. Councilmember Klusner.
Aye.
Mayor Sapaniak.
Aye.
Councilmember Beniak.
Nay.
Councilmember Mooney.
Aye.
Again, motion carries on 3-2 vote. Moving on to item number 7, Keepers Development. Keepers Development. Therese, you have that one for us?
Jewel, thank you, Mayor and Council. This is for the Keepers Development Proposal. It is for a comprehensive plan, future land use amendment, a rezone findings of fact resolution, an ordinance, and a preliminary PUD plan for the Oaks on 20th, second edition. I'll try to speak a little louder there. Sorry about that. So some background on the proposal. Again, Keepers, they're proposing to develop 3 parcels located south of Quick Trip East into one market rate multifamily apartment building, 42 units. And again, the plan involves a multitude of land use approvals, including a land use amendment, the proposed land use change from corridor commercial to high density residential, a rezone findings of fact resolution and ordinance, proposed rezoning from B2 highway business to R3 multiple family residential PUD, and a PUD preliminary plan, a request for approval of the preliminary PUD plan for the 42 unit apartment building. Should the council this evening approve those requests, the next steps would be a final PUD plan approval and agreement, preliminary and final plat, and vacation of easements. also site plan approval, which is done administratively, and then a building permit. So on the screen before you are the three parcels totaling 3.02 acres, again located south of Quick Trip East, and that would be into one market rate multifamily building with detached garages. The city's comprehensive plan land use map guides the properties for corridor commercial. The properties are zoned B2 highway business, and the applicant has developed and owns the apartment complex to the south known as the Oaks on 20th. You'll see that labeled on the map. This would be the Oaks on 20th second edition phase 2. So here is a map of the land use plan within that comprehensive plan. You see on the screen is where the property is located. Again, guided for corridor commercial. Here's a map of the zoning districts. And as you can see in the map, it's zoned B2, which is the red there where the arrow is. And the surrounding properties to the north, that is zoned B2 highway business. To the west, B2 highway business. To the east, B2 highway business. To the south is multifamily, as well as a portion R1 single family with a PUD overlay. Part of this process does require public input. The Planning Commission held public hearings on the land use requests on June 9th. The City Council also received public input at their council workshop on July 21st. Public input received included concerns on pedestrian and vehicle conflict, safety, vandalism, traffic, noise, and property values. The Planning Commission reviewed the land use requests at their meeting on June 9th and recommended approval with the following conditions. Add trees on the south of the westernmost garages. Those trees have been added, and you'll see that on the next slide with the revised PUD site plan. Add direct connection to 20th Avenue Southeast and eliminate access on 18th Avenue. That connection has been removed. Add 6 foot wide sidewalk along 18th Avenue Southeast at the time of development. And Keepers will construct those sidewalks as well as on Minnesota Street South. Keepers has requested that construction of the sidewalk improvements occur when improvements are made to Minnesota Street. So they do request that that be at a later date. And then lastly, if connection to the south property, pedestrian stays at speed bumps before the ped crossing. That connection connecting north and south to their first phase has been removed. And here's the updated PUD site plan. It's showing the access that comes off at 20th Avenue Southeast. There is emergency access from 18th Avenue, so should fire vehicles need to access. And I mentioned that there is no north-south connection to their first phase in the development. They also note on this PUD plan the construction of sidewalks on 18th Avenue South, as well as Minnesota Street. Here's a coloring rendering of the project. You'll see one of the conditions of approval or recommendations by the Planning Commission was to add trees, and they show that on this plan on the south property line. So they provide that screening as well as those garages, detached garages provide that screening as well. And then again, you'll see that the access is now showing off at 20th Avenue Southeast and eliminated off of 18th Avenue. Another visual of the coloring renderings of the exterior. So a purpose of a PUD, it's to allow for flexibility. It's being requested as R3 zoning doesn't allow the proposed 42 unit density. Staff had requested stormwater dedication. So essentially when Minnesota Street does get constructed, we need to make sure that we have the ability to have stormwater ponding that's required by the state MPCA. So this allows for that. They've added capacity to that stormwater. Again, I mentioned they included a larger stormwater area, and I'll show that on the next slide too, where that ponding is proposed, and they would dedicate that. to meet that need. So this is the same map that I had up before. If you look on the northeast side of the property, that is the large stormwater ponding that would accommodate not only this development, but also accommodate for the future stormwater ponding needs that we would need, the city would need for Minnesota Street. So PUDs must demonstrate that they serve a public benefit, which includes addressing housing needs at varied income levels, offering diverse housing types and designs, preserving open space or natural features, providing recreational opportunities, and supporting mixed-use development. This is right from the city's ordinance. The project adds 42 market rate apartments, so it's providing that the variety. 3 other multifamily sites remain in the city, with 2 not being shovel ready. Future growth favors highway commercial development along 75 and a proactive opportunity to capture future stormwater ponding on Minnesota Street at no cost to the city. The current PUD rules exclude those ponding areas from the density calculations, and this PUD agreement would allow for the higher density in exchange for dedicating the oversized storm ponding areas. Again, this is also the criteria that you'll want to weigh your decision on. It's right from the city's ordinance, that it not be detrimental to the surrounding land uses, is compatible with future development, has adequate streets and sidewalks for anticipated traffic, can provide required utilities and services, includes required parking, recreation, landscaping, and utilities in each phase, and meets the PUD standards and aligns with the comprehensive plan, conforms with the city's subdivision ordinance design standards. So when you're reviewing this land use amendment, you want to take note of your comprehensive plan and have an understanding of that. That plan document sets forth a vision and goals for the city's future. The plan addresses future land use, housing, utilities, and so forth. The amendment supports the goals outlined in the St. Joseph Comprehensive Plan, and those are on the screen, and they're as follows. In your housing section, you have a goal to create a diversity of housing options within the city. That's also within your PUD ordinance too, but it's included in your comprehensive plan. Another goal is to assist in planning and construction of affordable housing options. The strategy includes encourage renter and owner occupied developments that offer a mix of housing costs. Also within your comprehensive plan goals, you have community facilities and utilities, a goal to provide potable water, sanitary waste collection, and surface water management to existing and future development in a cost-effective, environmentally responsible manner. A strategy to achieve that goal is to prioritize infill and redevelopment of existing areas to maximize use of existing water and sewer infrastructure systems. Additional findings to consider is that multifamily residential development is less intense than commercial development, that the surrounding properties to the north, west, and east are guided for corridor commercial, that the amendment will provide a buffer and transition between low-density residential and commercial developments, that the site is an infill development project with utilities, meaning that majority of the surrounding properties are developed and they have those utilities, so it's shovel ready. So why apartments and why zoning change? There are 3 sites in the city zoned for multifamily. 2 of those sites do have to be final platted yet. One has utilities and is owned by an interested developer. The other site has utility issues. One shovel ready site has not proceeded due to cost of construction, interest rates, and so forth. Factors influencing multifamily interest include 30% of households are one-person households, and 38 is the average age of the first-time home buyers. In the 80s, this number was in the mid-late 20s. And 2024 saw the highest number of multifamily housing construction since 1973. There's higher interest rates and affordability pressures in the housing market, student debt, generational and lifestyle attitude changes, younger demographics wanting flexibility, smaller households, and there's market demand. The average vacancy rate is 4.7 in St. Joseph and the outlying Stearns County neighborhood. Bear in mind that the St. Joseph is actually less than that. So when I had the developer at the direction of council, they asked about vacancy rate. It's such a small market in St. Joseph, so it's actually lower than that actually had to pull from the surrounding cities. And that was included in your packet. The average vacancy rate in Stearns County is 3.1%. So this is a list. Currently it's zone B2. So before this might be kind of hard to read for the people in the audience here, but essentially B2 allows for a variety of commercial uses, any district or any, use in the B1 district, but retail, restaurants, motel, hotel, things of that nature. Quite a variety of uses are currently allowed. This is a map of the future transportation network. The 20th Avenue is an arterial street. Minnesota Street is a collector roadway. Both of those carry higher amount of traffic. Arterial, there's limitations with driveway connections, which is why staff initially had requested that access off of 18th Avenue, because there was a concern in regards to limited access off arterial roadways. However, with the public input that had been received, that was eliminated. At the last council workshop meeting on July 21st, there was discussion on traffic, including potentially completing a traffic study. The developer did request that this item be placed on this agenda. As such, a trip generation analysis memo has been prepared by SEH, the Institute of Transportation Engineers. Trip generation manual 11th edition was used to estimate trip generation for daily AM and peak for the proposed multifamily apartment development. So for comparison, trips were estimated if the 3 existing parcels were developed under the existing zoning of B2 highway business. The proposed land use assumption for the current vacant parcels assumed to be a strip mall plaza. This land use accounts for a variety of commercial land uses that are typically seen along and near highway corridors. The existing parcels as they are zoned today, B2, are expected to generate approximately 1,089 daily trips, while the proposed zoning as R3 is expected to generate 283 daily trips. So for you this evening, we're requesting council take action the following motions before you. Motion to approve resolution 2025-01, a comprehensive plan, future land use amendment. This item does require a supermajority. And then second, a motion to approve or deny resolution 2025-025, approving the rezone findings of fact. And related to that is a motion to approve or deny ordinance 2025-007, establishing the rezone from B2 Highway Business District to R3 Multiple Family Residential PUD. And then the last motion is a motion to approve or deny the preliminary PUD plan.
Before we jump into discussion, Therese, just for clarity, the first potential motion is the only one that's meant to be voted as a supermajority because it pertains to the comprehensive plan, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, the others are traditional votes.
They are.
Thank you. Well,
And
thank you.
I want a clarification on that.
Okay.
If number 1 doesn't pass with the supermajority, then it's a moot point. We don't do any of the other 3.
We would ask that you take action on all 3. Those are active land use applications, so we would still ask that you
Okay.
act on them. We would, at that point, though, we would recommend that you deny the rezoning findings of fact, because they really wouldn't come into play. And then the other ones also, we would ask that you deny those too.
If I may, the city attorney recommended that they be voted on, and if the first one does not pass, then the rest would be a motion to deny based on the fact that it's not in compliance with our comprehensive land use plan.
Well, thank you for all that, Therese. With that, we will open discussion before anybody may want want to entertain making a vote.
Well, I guess I'm going to start. Appreciative and again, not putting down the business that wants to come in an apartment. It's the safety in the area. And if I understood that right, they wouldn't put the sidewalks in until the rest of everything else happens, which was approximately 15 to 20 years from now, correct? Or the sidewalks?
That is
That-
their request
Okay.
is to delay that.
Okay.
However, you could require them to do it.
Well, I mean, that's my most important part, and I did request a traffic study, which really isn't, this is an estimation. This isn't exactly what's going on right now. And it's not including the other two apartments that are in with that. And I'm not trying to poo-poo all over this. It's safety. It's the people that are living there already. We have a company, which happens to be an animal, which I'm completely fine with, as it is zoned now. And if that were to come in too. I feel that there's a screwed number where they're saying there would be more traffic if there was businesses there compared to an apartment, which again, it's people living there. So it's condensed, it's there, they're staying there and they're moving constantly. So I think that's more movement than if there was businesses where those clients are coming in and out for those businesses. But there's no sidewalk. Again, there's no safety. There's a lot of kids walking from those other apartments in that area. And as much as I appreciate some of the changes they did, I just, to not be able to join up with us and be able to do a real traffic study and really look at what the infrastructure needs to happen first. Because we're just, as a city, we're inviting more problems onto our cops, onto our public safety, with snow. And it's just, there's too much that we're inviting to be able to accept more people to come into this particular area. And so I do not feel comfortable with saying, yes, we do need housing, but not at the expense of the people that are already living in the area. That's what's important to me, is the safety, and for the safety if the already apartments that are there. If you were to build that, there's still no safety for them that are going to be living there. So that's my biggest concern, is the safety of the people that are existing already in that area, not to mention the turn lane. There's so much infrastructure that needs to happen first.
As it's currently zoned, Therese, in B2 highway commercial that it is, you had stated that one of the allowable businesses that could be executed that would not require council vote is a hotel, correct?
Yes, likely, looking at the site, they would still need to consolidate the parcel into one. So they would have to go through a preliminary and final plat approval. And that would require a public hearing, a planning commission, and it would ultimately go to the council. However, preliminary and final plat is a technical. You're just making sure that it meets the subdivision ordinance essentially in regards to, again, the technical drawing and providing for easements, things of that nature. So it's not really on the development plan at that point.
Okay. I asked that question just because as a frame of mind, I'm looking at this as we have a proposal of a apartment before us. And it's going to take 4 different unique votes in order to get us there if we want to have the apartment. And if we leave the property billed as is a B2 highway commercial, there's a lot of other things that could appear there in the future. There could be 3 individual businesses commercial, there could be a hotel, a motel, and just future outcomes could generate a lot more traffic than an apartment. And it could bring different risks or dangers or outcomes that we wouldn't want to see either. I look at this as there is a housing need, not just in St. Joe, but everywhere. So it is filling a void there for the city. And also, if we have this apartment, it's actually going to be less traffic than other outcomes. I know this to be true because where my personal business is, it's not in St. Joe, but I see how many people come and go out of strip mall areas or just smaller individual businesses firsthand. And it's a lot. The trip generation, that coin term, it's quite high. So I can appreciate that we'll actually have less traffic in the future if it were to become an apartment. I do appreciate that we are getting a stormwater retention pond out of this, that we are getting an additional sidewalk. These are things that the city's not going to have to pay for. It's going to be levied against this developer who's looking to do this apartment. So
But
this is a multifaceted issue. It's a multifaceted problem through whatever lens you want to view it through. And I do see that there's a lot of pros and cons. And for me personally, I think there's slightly more pros than cons.
Just remember, the sidewalks aren't coming right away. They're coming when needed.
You could put it in your motion.
How do I do that?
I believe that'd be applicable to the fourth one, correct? If we were to require that they build the sidewalks at the time of building the apartment.
That is correct.
So if we actually get to the fourth motion at all, that'd be an amendment you can make to that motion. Any other comments from the counselors?
Is there an economic projection on this? Weighing that against the property values?
I don't have that, I don't have that data with me, David. I don't know if you have any insight to that. I will say that in respects to economic development, as far as commercial and industrial development, you need housing. I mean, they go hand in hand. So that's what the comment I'll offer up with that as far as the economic impact.
I guess, are you talking about tax revenue kind of thing? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, as far as tax revenue, multifamily housing is taxed at a higher rate than single family dwellings are. And depending on what the commercial type of use is, commercial can be taxed at different rates as well. The one thing I will say about this particular development, with it being housing as well, is right now they haven't asked for any subsidies or any tax breaks or anything along those lines, which is helpful to this. So sometimes, depending where it is, they'll ask for things like TIF or tax incentive or property tax rebate. That has not been asked for. So whatever added value gets added to that particular property, then with that, the property tax revenue from that would go directly to the city, school, and county. So it would be, we would get quite a bit more tax revenue from that than from the apartment building than we would obviously from the bare land that's out there right now.
Any other comment from the counselors?
Upon construction, what is going to be, upon possible construction, what is going to be the detour for 18th?
That's a good question. Randy, would you have an idea of that?
Are you referring to it during the construction
Yes.
of the apartment complex itself?
Correct. Are they gonna just be on their own footprint
It
type
would-
thing? Okay.
So there wouldn't be a need because the site's already served by utilities, so we wouldn't have to disrupt, or they wouldn't have to disrupt any of the public streets for utility access. The only disturbance that I'm envisioning at this point would have been the driveway connection at 20th as proposed. And that still would be limited to.
And that's
by
just
the-
gonna be coned off and, okay.
Yeah, there wouldn't be any interruption to traffic on 20th or Minnesota Street because of their operations.
Anything else, Adam? Kevin Mooney?
No, I guess I can't put my caveats in there until 4.
Correct. If this were to pass the first three motions, you can make an amendment to their plan on the fourth. Well, with that, I'm just gonna formally close our discussion, and we're looking for a motion on the first part. And to just reiterate for the audience, this does require a supermajority vote. That's a supremely rare instance since we're making an alteration to our comprehensive plan. So if this is to pass at all, it would be a 5-0 vote or a 4-1 vote. Anything less than that, a 3-2-2-3, 1-4-0-5, that's a failure of this vote. We're looking for a motion.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2025-01, the comprehensive plan for future land use amendment.
Second,
Seeing a motion and a second, any further comment?
I'd like a roll call vote.
David, can you execute that?
Yes, Mayor, I certainly can. I'll just do the same order we had in the press. We'll just go down the line. So Councilmember Schnettler,
Aye.
Councilmember Klusner,
Aye.
Mayor Sapaniak,
Aye.
Councilmember Beniak,
Nay.
Councilmember Mooney.
Aye.
The motion does pass with a supermajority vote of 4-1. With that, we're looking for a motion to approve or deny resolution 2025-025 for the rezone findings of fact.
I so move.
Second,
Seeing a motion and a second, any further comment?
I'd like a roll call vote.
You're welcome to have one. This one does not require a supermajority.
I'd like a roll call vote.
Yep, you're welcome to have one.
Councilmember Schnettler,
Aye.
Councilmember Klusner,
Aye.
Mayor Sapaniak,
Aye.
Councilmember Beniak,
Nay.
Councilmember Mooney.
Motion carries 4-1. We are now looking for a motion to approve or deny ordinance 2025-007, establishing the rezone from B2 Highway Business District to R3 Multifamily Residential PUD. I will so move. Looking for a second.
Second,
Seeing a motion as second, any further comment?
I'd like a roll call vote.
Okay. Councilmember Schnettler,
Aye.
Councilmember Klusner,
Aye.
Mayor Sapaniak,
Aye.
Councilmember Beniak,
Nay.
Councilmember Mooney.
Motion carries 4-1. I believe we're going to be making some amendments. So before we make a motion to approve or deny a preliminary PUD plan, I'm looking for feedback from the council for any alterations you would like to see for this PUD plan. You want to start with Adam?
The ditch is to be completed upon construction.
You're referring to like the north
Yes.
sidewalk?
No, the holding pond,
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
yes.
Stormwater retention pond?
That one. I think the sidewalk should be put in at the time of construction. I think the refuse capacity should be doubled, or the frequency should be doubled. Whatever keepers will jive with.
Just to add more clarity to your amendment, I wouldn't leave it in the hands of the developer. Would you like it to see it doubled or leave it as is?
Doubled.
Just for clarity of the motion.
No, I either want it doubled frequency or capacity ways. So let's just do capacity.
Okay. Does anybody else have any further input outside those three items?
Sidewalk being connected all the way to the front onto, is that 20th? So sidewalks completely connecting with all the way around the building.
So it connects on west, north, and east facings?
Yep.
Okay.
All three. Making sure that the trees, that is, on the 18th Avenue and backside. I think that's going to be garages though, correct? On the backside here, they're taking down all those trees.
Teresa,
that's
do you
gonna be
mind
s-
pulling up the colored image for us? The black and white one is difficult.
So they do have some, I would almost like to see more trees than, so abutting that. And then you're saying the ditch
The stormwater
is
retention
right,
pond that
it's
is
going to be
right
right
here.
here. Oh, and right here. Yeah, more trees.
Point of clarification there, are we leaving the emergency access point on 18th?
Yes, I would personally advocate for that with
So is
years
that,
of my standing on the fire department.
so is that still gonna be accessible then for the cars?
No, what that is it's green space, it's grass, and I might not depict this the best, but they're going to have reinforcements buried underground there so that in the case that somebody comes in off of,
But not paved.
correct, it is not, it's grass. But if a fire truck had to drive over that, they wouldn't sink,
sense.
get buried and get stuck.
Okay.
So that'd be one spot that they don't want to have trees because
Correct.
we might need a truck. Can you return us to our last page? Thank you, Therese. Is there any other input? I'm gonna make a motion. Hopefully I can recap our input. I make a motion to approve the preliminary PUD plan with the amendments that the stormwater retention pond be constructed at the time of building the apartment, as well as the refuse capacity for this apartment be doubled, that the sidewalk is completed at the time of construction on its west, north, and east facing. It's continuous and connected. And for shading to the residents west of the apartment, there be more trees planted on the 18th Avenue western side. That is my motion.
Second,
Seeing a motion and a second, any further comment?
I'd like a roll call vote.
David?
Councilmember Schnettler,
Aye.
Councilmember Klusner,
Aye.
Mayor Sapaniak,
Aye.
Councilmember Beniak,
Aye.
Councilmember Mooney.
Motion carries 5-0. I believe that's all 4 items pertaining to this, correct, Therese?
Correct.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 8, department reports. Anything to report? Dwight, Ryan, Lori, David?
I do have one if nobody else has any. August 15th at the end of the day, I'm gonna mess up the time, but probably about is it a half an hour early or something? 3 to 5. The city would be will be holding a wellness. This came out of our wellness committee. The city would be holding a get together amongst staff for again, it's part of our wellness committee. They have been working on various things for the employees to promote wellness, et cetera. It's actually been quite successful. It's something that is becoming more and more popular with cities around there. So they're requesting that we have a small get together on the 15th. So I just want to make the council aware of it, that we might be closing just a little bit early, but we would have that posted and try to give enough notice that that we would be unavailable for a short period of time on Friday the 15th.
Thank you.
Where are you gonna have it?
I think somebody's dropping in.
Where is it gonna be from 3 to 5? Where? Nice.
The new park. That's right. I'm not part of the planning committee, so.
Any other department reports? Mayor and council reports?
Just that the farmer's market is celebrating their 25th anniversary, which I'm very proud for that. And so I'll be going out there. I hope everybody does too. It starts, so of course it's through 3 to 6, but they're having a little ceremony too. So just very proud of St. Joe and being able to have that.
I have one that we kind of discussed before this meeting started. We may be looking to cancel our August 18th work session. So the agenda items on that could be moved forward to the future because our capital campaign for the community center is hosting an event at the same time, and we're looking to have city staff and residents attend that. So I know there is robust conversation coming around a native plant ordinance that was brought up tonight, and there's been other parcels in town that want to be discussed, and we may be looking to move that into September. That is all I have. With that, we're looking for a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Seeing a motion a second, all those in favor signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We're adjourned.